What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the Glossy Garage, where we make detailing simple. My name is Koch, and today I have something special for you guys. So right here is the completed job on the 2013 Mercedes-Benz CLS 63. And you guys will see the walkthrough. We made it 10 times better, but we're not going for perfection. A couple areas have been repainted and resprayed. And if you guys haven't watched my paint depth gauge video, go ahead and take a look at that. This is where we found out that there's a bunch of areas that has been resprayed. And on the hood, there's a bunch of sanding marks. They didn't really do a great job on repainting, but we removed a lot of the oxidation. All the products will be down below in the description. So the interior wasn't bad at all. We still did the whole steam cleaning, carpet extracting, carpet shampooing, just to make sure we really get all that gunk out. And yeah, so that's about it. So let's go ahead and get started. So here's a quick walk around just so you guys can get a better idea and a closer look of the condition of the paint and the state that this paint is in. So as you can see, the paint doesn't even look white anymore. There's a lot of heavy dirt, grime, and debris that's actually stuck and embedded into the paint. And pretty much we're going to go ahead and polish that to make it shiny and glossy again. And the owner's main concern was also the rear bumper where he got hit, and there's a bit of paint transfer there. We went ahead and took care of that for him. But overall, the main concern of the video was really the external part, the exterior part of the paint, because it had heavy oxidation, which you guys would go ahead and see in the future, and also certain steps that my wife and I had to take just based because of the condition of the paint. But overall, for the interior though, the interior was in immaculate condition in general. So pretty much here's a quick how the interior looks before. It just looks literally really clean, but the owner really wanted a deep clean, so we ended up steam cleaning the seats, carpet extracting the carpets, steam cleaning the entire interior that way to make it look a lot more clean and deep rich as possible, and that way the owner knows it's completely germ and bacteria free. So pretty much that's what we did for the interior, but like I said, the main focus is really the exterior. The first step of the exterior, we went ahead and did the engine bay cleaning. We did pop the hood and let the hood or the engine cool down for about 45 minutes to an hour before we went ahead and did any cleaning. You want to work on a clean surface. That is super important, because if you spray any chemicals on a hot surface, you will stain and damage the plastic. So it's always good to work on a cool engine. And for the top part, painted surfaces, I use extra tough APC diluted 1:5, and for the engine bay, we went ahead and used owner's pride grime diluted 15:1 to go ahead and deep clean the rest of the engine. I don't like to introduce any water, so I went ahead and just sprayed it on, deep clean, and then just wiped it off with extra tough APC 1:5, and that's about it. The engine bay looked clean, and then we went ahead and dressed it with DIY detail tire dressing. As for the entire process in general for the exterior wash, I went ahead and skipped that, but he has aftermarket rims, so we went ahead and used Adams Eco Wash just to make sure we don't destroy any aftermarket rims that he has. But other than that, we did the whole wash process, and I just skipped to the clay process and the polishing step, because these are the most important things that I really want to talk about in the video. So we're up to the claying stage, or the decontamination stage. So we washed it, we APC'd it, but this is where this video came into play of when to use a clay towel and when to go ahead and use an aggressive clay bar. And pretty much this is literally the best example I could show you on why the paint is heavily contaminated, and I will bring you in so you guys can see. And thank goodness it's a white car as well, because instead of just hearing the contamination, I'm going to just show you. And as we come in close, it's a 2013, by the way. All these dots are not metallic flakes or anything. These are literally just iron deposit, orange specks all over the entire vehicle. So this is the only time I tell people to go ahead and just spray iron remover like crazy. This is the only time. And as a detailer, this is a once in a blue moon type of thing. And a clay towel and doing this at the same time is not really gonna remove it. So I'm gonna spray this, let it dwell, rinse it off, back it into the garage with the rinseless wash, use as my clay lube, and then from there we're gonna go ahead and bring it back out and then use the water spot remover. So let me move this out the way. I'm gonna go ahead and spray the iron remover all over the car and just let it dwell. And this is all over the entire car, so I guarantee you we're gonna see a bunch of bleeding instantly. And I am using the DIY Detail iron remover, and I'm spraying against the wind so it doesn't hit me or, you know, do any collateral type of damage. But I'm gonna go ahead and just spray the entire hood as such. And this is the only time, again, that I just tell people, just spray a bunch and then let it dwell and then rinse it off. Today's an overcast day and it is cool outside. So the best thing about this is that I can let it dwell for a very long time. And the paint literally feels like sandpaper. Let me see if you guys can hear it here. You guys hear that? So we just sprayed the entire vehicle with iron remover. And like I said, this is the only time I suggest to spray like crazy. So this is the entire vehicle filled with iron deposits and stuff like that. So time to just let it dwell, then I'll rinse it off. We'll back it up into the garage and just go ahead and use the clay bar. This is where we're going to be using the aggressive clay bar from Koch Chemie, and we rinsed off the rest of the iron remover. The iron remover wasn't going to remove all these deposits that's embedded inside the paint. We're talking about years of practically neglect. So what I'm going to do is spray our rinseless wash. And some of these are already like touch-up paint that it looks like was done in the past, but the paint feels super, super rough still. Spray a little bit on your clay bar. And I just go straight for an aggressive clay bar. If you use a fine grade clay bar, you're just gonna sit here for a long time. With an aggressive tacky clay bar, it's going to remove that contamination quickly. And this is what you hear, and then literally right away it gets removed. Now it's smooth. Hear that? Here to here. That's all the oxidation. Yes, I'm going to mar the paint, but this car is going to get polished. And that's something that is super important because I am marring the paint with this aggressive clay bar. And watch this paint start to turn white again. And I'm still removing more oxidation off the paint, and all that is coming off. And then once we remove the embedded contamination, we're gonna go ahead and polish the rest of the car and bring it back to life. We already passed the first round with the iron remover and the aggressive clay bar, but there were some contamination left behind. So what my wife and I are gonna do is just spray a little bit more of iron remover, 1 to 2 sprays on the panel. Grab the clay towel that was inside your wash solution, and I'm going to spray just a little more. This is a heavily contaminated vehicle, but this is why we charge accordingly, just to make sure that we do the job correctly and not skip any corners. And just spray it just a little bit, and you're gonna see there's still more bleeding action even after the original clay step. So go ahead, but now it's not as rough as before. So when I pass my clay mitt, you hear it's smooth. But now we're just removing that last bit of iron that's left because we removed a big bulk of the original contamination. And we go ahead, zero pressure, and this is easily just going to rub off with the clay towel. So sometimes you will, in cases like these, have to double down again, and it's all right. That's part of the process, but charge accordingly so that way you're not feeling like you're doing extra work, because this was technically, you know, an extra step that I knew that we were going to go with when the customer asked me for a quote, because it is a 10-year-old vehicle. Alright, so once we're done with the clay and iron remover stage, we went ahead and used DIY detail water spot remover. And this is the reason why we're doing this after the iron and clay process, is because you want the water spot remover to go ahead and penetrate into the pores of the paint. And it's going to work better when you're able to remove as much of that contamination off the paint as possible. This way you could go ahead and get the best effect and dwell time for the DIY detail water spot remover. And then once you're done rinsing off the water spot remover, you'll see that the paint is starting to sheet. That means we've pretty much unclogged a lot of the pores and diminished those minerals. And remember, you never want to polish water spots unless you use a water spot remover first, because if not, you're just digging it deeper into the paint. Up to the polishing stage, so there's some light left contamination, but everything is pretty much gone. The rest is just really embedded in there, so the polish is going to go ahead and take it out. So I'm going to use Oberk Soul. It's a little more aggressive than the OP compound, and a little bit more aggressive than the DIY Detail Gold Standard, but that's okay. If you guys haven't seen the video before that I posted up about the paint depth gauge, go ahead and watch that. It's great knowledge. But pretty much this whole hood and a couple of fenders have been repainted over time, and although we're going to polish it, it may not look as glossy as we really think it's going to look, just because of the simple fact it's been repainted and there's some orange peel and stuff like that. But I'm going to go ahead and use Oberk Soul. And also, this is a perfect paint to go ahead and work on because there's no plastic trim either. There's a lot of great polishes. Oberk really makes great polishes, and Oberk Soul is one of them. It's an all-in-one polish, meaning you could cut, and it's pad dependent based on whatever pad you're using. But here I'm going to pair it up with the DIY Detail waffle pad and just do about 4 to 5 section passes, and then that's about it. Let's see if we remove the rest of the haziness, dullness, and stuff on the paint. I'm not going to go too aggressive. I'm going to see what the paint is telling me and whether this combo works or not. So this is an SPTA. All the SPTAs, I have 2 of them. One of them has very low torque and this one has medium torque. So pretty much I like to use this on speed setting 6, which is pretty much like a speed setting 4 on a Rupes. I may need a compound, I'm not too sure, but I'm gonna do a test spot with the compound and the wool pad. It's a lot better, but on this side I'm gonna use the compound and see if what defects or if the rest of the oxidation gets removed, because we're talking about close to 10 years of neglect. Now we're gonna step up the aggression with the Supreme Cut from Oberk. I already shook this compound up. Pop it open, and I'm pairing it up with the wool pad from DIY Detail, and I accidentally put way too much, but it is what it is. That's about it, and I'm just going to do this section here and see what type of correction we get. Alright, so let's just buff this off. Did about 4 section passes, and let's see the result. Of course, I removed that oxidation. As you can see, it's nice and white here, and up here it's just dark with the embedded contamination. But overall, this gave a slightly better finish. They definitely used hard clear on this, because even then it still didn't cut through fully, but the clarity is here. And let me just bring you guys in just so you guys can go ahead and see. Just follow the light on my iPhone, and as you can see, nice and clear, nice and clear if you follow my light. And once we come up here, it's all dull. So that's the oxidation we're cutting through, and we're just going to use this. It gave a nice gloss. So we're going to use a Supreme cut on the entire hood, and then we'll have to do another test spot on the areas that's original paints just to see how hard the clear is. So here's a crazy 50-50. So the left half, of course, is fully oxidized, and just wait till we get to the right half and it's just completely shiny and glossy. Remove years of oxidation on the paint, and pretty much we repeated this whole process around the entire vehicle. And I know earlier I did say we were going to use a different polish, but the Supreme cut really worked super well because the factory paint was slightly on the harder side, and it finished down a lot nicer on the factory paint than of course it did on the aftermarket paint because of the orange peel and stuff like that, which is just natural. But overall the paint came out amazing. And after that we went ahead and applied DIY detail ceramic gloss once we polished the entire paint. That way we could go ahead and give it 3 to 4 months of protection, and will definitely last through the winter. And this way the customer can be happy. It's going to be shiny, glossy, and easier to clean. And now it's just up to the owner to go ahead and maintain his vehicle. And I went ahead and just did it around the whole vehicle and glass, and that's it. So get ready for the results. So the owner did say after I recorded this that he was going to go ahead and pick up the vehicle the next morning, but here are the interior results. And it's deep clean, nicely fresh, completely germ bacteria free. We did the whole 9 yards on the interior, that way the owner knows it's completely clean. And then for the exterior, just enjoy the results. Here's the gloss, here's the shine, and let me know what you guys think about this. This is the glossiest the paint has ever been in the past, like say 6-7 years. So hopefully you guys enjoy this type of process. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and just enjoy the rest of the walk around. And I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.